What we're going to talk about is number 10 on your 2.3 Unit 2 assignment that we worked on in class. For number 10, a gardener wants to fence in a rectangular plot in 2 equal rectangular sections. If she has 54 yards of fence and the entire area of the plot is 108 square yards, find the possible dimensions of the entire rectangular plot in yards. So what you're going to first do, what I did was I drew a picture. So it's showing this fence. So you have a fence and it's also cut into two equal rectangular parts or sections. So you know that you have length and width and when you're doing dimensions. Okay, so what I did was I labeled this length, width, and then because this is cut along the same measurement as the length, I'm going to also call this length. Now, you were given that the fence is 54 yards. That's a form of like perimeter. The distance around, the whole distance of the fence is total 54 yards. And then you have the area of it is 108 yards squared or square yards. So what we're going to do is first calculate the fence or set it up. We have the fence is equal to the sum of all sides. So the fence we know is 54 yards and that's equal to the sum of all sides, which is actually you have 3 L's plus 2 W. Okay, so we have our equation set up. What we're going to do is actually solve for W. Okay, so what we're going to do, we need to get W alone. So we're going to move the 3L, which means you have to subtract it from both sides. So then you end up with 54 minus 3L equals 2W. Now, in order to get W alone, you have to divide by 2. So that gives you W equals 54 minus 3L over 2. Now, what do we even need this for? We're going to actually plug this into something using the area. And when we're talking about rectangles, the area of our rectangle is length times width. So we're going to set that up here. I'm going to put it down here so you can see it. So we know our area. So area equals length times width. Okay. So what we're going to do is substitute this W in here. Okay. So we have area, which is 108 yards squared. So 108 equals L times, we have 54 minus 3L over 2. Okay? So now what we can do in order to simplify this, because we have a fraction there now, all that good stuff. So what we can do is actually, let's see, we can distribute, we can take out that 2. So let's multiply the whole thing by 2 actually. So we can get rid of that denominator. So multiply by 2, cancel, and then you have 2 times 108, that's 216, and that's equal to 54L, and remember we're distributing, minus, and then we have, so that's there, and it's also here, and then we have 3L squared. Now we have this going on here. So what we're going to do next is move this around to make it in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So we're going to set it up. So I'm going to move this to the left. I'm going to make this positive here. So I'm going to move this over to the other side. So when this moves to the opposite end of the equal sign, okay, so that becomes a positive 3L squared. This becomes a negative 54L. And then this stays because we're still on the same side. and it's all equal to 0 because I moved everything on. So now I have 3L squared minus 54 plus 216. So then now I have to figure out, see if I can leave it like that or factor. So I'm going to end up factoring out the 3. So when I factor out this 3, put that right on the side right here. We'll pull out a 3, and then I'm setting it up, my leftovers. 3 times what gives you L squared? I have an L squared, my leftover, minus 3 times something gives me 54. And that's 18. And then I need an L as well. And then 3 times something gives me 216. 72. So now I have 3 times, parentheses, L squared minus 18L plus 72. So now I have to factor this out so I can solve for L. So then I bring down this 3, do my double parentheses. Now I break up my L. This is an L squared. Okay. Then notice that this is positive, and then the middle side is negative. So that means I'm going to have 2 minuses. So I need something that multiplies to 72, but will add up to give me at negative 18. Okay. So how can I get 18 from something that gives me 72? I find the factors of 72. I have 8 times 9. I also have 12 times 6. I have quite a few. But it just so happens that 12 and 6 work out. Because if I were to add them together, I will get 18. So now I have 3 on the outside, and I have L minus 12 and then L minus 6. So when I solve for L, I'll end up with L minus 12 equals 0. L minus 6 equals 0. Now you do your algebra on here. So plus 12, plus 12. So then L equals 12. And then I do plus 6, plus 6. So then L equals 6. Okay? So I know that my length can be either 12 or it can be 6. Alright? So 12 or 6. So now, my last thing. All I have to do is take this, the L equals 6 and the L equals 12, and substitute it back into this equation. So let me just clean this up a bit for you. So let me put that L equals 12, and then L equals 6, and we're talking yards. Okay, so then I'm going to replace that into that original equation I made. So 54 minus 3L divided by 2. I'm going to write it twice, because I'm going to put each of these in here. So I'm going to solve now. So W equals 54 minus 3 times 12 divided by 2, which is 54 minus 36 over 2. 54 minus 36, you end up with 54 minus 36, you end up with 18 divided by 2, 9. Okay, so you end up with 9 for this one. And then when you solve the next one, so it's W equals, 54 minus 3 times 6 divided by 2. So 54 minus 18 divided by 2. So when you do that one out, you end up with 36 over 2, which just equals 18. So then your final answer would be when the length is 12 yards, your width Right here, when we substitute for 12, your width is 9 yards. And then when the length is 6 yards, your width is 18 yards. So those are the two responses you would get at the end.